it can come off in this angle, but if I rotate it up and it didn't have a magnet, it still wouldn't be able to come off. Um, because then there's this, um, let me see, this will be easier to show. So there's this surface here, like a little curved surface that's holding it in mechanically. And how this post that it rotates around on, it's also mechanically. Like the only way to have it come off is if it's at an angle. So these are surprisingly hard. It's actually 2 pounds of force on the magnet. And it may not sound like much, but when you're talking about these little tiny parts, it actually takes a little bit to get off and it has to come off in the exact right way. And so when I pull it off, it's easy to come off. Like it's free at the right angle. But in much the same way, I couldn't put it on and slip it on this way if it was at this angle. I'd had to put it on this way and then let it come up and snap into place. And so this is really the primary driver of motivation of this is I just wanted more people and more shooters to be out there to be able to experience this because I always use my father-in-law as an example because he loves guns and he loves toys and he likes shooting all that. He doesn't get into the technical details, but he's a perfect kind of typical customer because he's still worried about like, I don't know, messing with his gun. Like I know that might sound foreign to a group like this because you do it all the time, but there's a whole bunch of people out there that just it just sets them uneasy when they have to mess with it. And you tell them that they have to turn this bolt, even if it was just a grip and a spring and a D10 for the safety. It's like that's not a big deal to us, but to them it just sets them uneasy. So I'm just like, okay, well, maybe we can actually, you know, just 1 minute install and let the trigger do the work. Then they'll feel better about it. And hopefully that gets more people into uh, better stuff, better tools. Like 'cause we know it's out there, and then they can use it, and then they become better shooters. And if they're better shooters, you know, like most of us, if we're good, we like doing it, we enjoy it better, right? And so if we could get them into a better trigger, they could be better. So that was the main motivation. But then I got in the hands of really good shooters and they started coming up with all kinds of ideas that they have special like, oh well, I can use this for my uh, three gun stuff and then easily swap it out for my PRS stuff, and then and they had all kinds of ideas on how they might switch it out and what the different purposes are for and everything, which is really cool to see because I didn't really envision that to be the case, but did happen to be. And it's kind of funny if it, um, in designing this I spent months tormenting over the built-in pins and trying to figure out, okay, I want a spring come out, and I finally figured out how to retain it, that small pin, but I couldn't figure out because the next logical thing is like, how do I get the dang thing out? And I had this uh, finally had this epiphany, and it was like this big eureka moment. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to put a slot or like a Torx pattern into the pins, and we'll be able to push it in and slide it, and it will fall into this groove, and we'll be able to retain it, and then you'll be able to pull it out. Be easy to install, but you might actually have to have a tool to get it out. That seemed like a pretty good compromise. And I went to test it and everything, and I was so pumped about this idea because it took me forever and it's a eureka moment. I went to put it in and it was like a screwdriver. So I was just testing out flat head and I put it in and I pushed it in before I could make the turn, the damn thing held in. And I'm like, all of that, I was tormenting over it and it already self-retained. And so I actually took that out, talking about, and it made it simpler. And all it takes is just push it in. So it could be like a bullet or anything like that. And you just push it in both sides, and it's retained in by the housing walls. And then a little trick that we found is then you can let the hammer loose like this, and then you do the same on this. Is just put it in, and push in each side, and then this will kind of want to pop out once I push that in, and it will kind of pull itself up. And then I always like to close it. here. Oh, come on. Oh, it just worked. Oh, what the heck is going on here?
That's right. I think that's got something
There we
good to
go.
say about something going in easier than
There we
coming
go. Yeah. It definitely comes out. It definitely goes in easier than it comes out.
out.
Normally, of course, it's never fails on a demo, right? It's like it doesn't, nothing goes right on a demo. I
Yeah,
swear, I
I
walk
got
around
you.
the shop and I'm giving tours. I'm going to pick up the one bad one. That's just the way it goes. But I think you get the idea. Like you can switch it out without tools. You can definitely install it without tools. The safeties, that was a surprising thing. So safeties are surprisingly not made as consistent as you might think. Um, which they all, I mean, hopefully they all work. I haven't ran into any that aren't, but they're not as consistent as I thought, and I really thought they would be. Um, but it threw in some extra challenges on how the compatibility, and we had to engineer that into it. And but I think we've got a solution where we've probably got 80% um, of the builds that are out there. I'm sure there's some outliers that it doesn't work with some safeties or receivers, but for the most part, we haven't been able to find any combinations really that doesn't work with um, what's out on the market now, what's going on the market now.
Awesome. Hey, Matt, I've got a question for you, brother. Uh,
Yeah,
Stephen, can you spotlight me with him? But two things. One, I really appreciate that you brought up the curved or the flat face, really quick inner swap. Honestly, that was probably as much as it sounds like a really awesome tool to have to be able to go between flat and curved face. It honestly kind of scared me a little bit because I'm like, I'm going to lose my curved face. It's going to fall off. I'm going to flip it and it's going to do something. So you showing that it's like double mechanical locked plus magnet lock. I honestly must have missed that on the website. Didn't know it. But watching you take it off gives
yeah.
me a lot of assurance that I wouldn't be in the tree line and just lose what we call a target indicator